Transmitting to you from Old Heart Radio.
Prepare to have your bones chilled and your hairs raised. It's the WacArnold's Brothers podcast.
Welcome home.
This fucking hot garbage of a fucking movie. Okay, welcome to WacArnold's Brothers. This is episode number 24, man.
Yeah, 24. We got a juicy one.
Yeah, we do. This episode was stinking, or this movie that we're about to talk about was stinking absurd, if you ask me. Like,
for sure.
I mean, even so much as the title, which, you know, is I Will Always Know What You Did Last Summer. Like,
real quick before we jump into this, have you watched any of the episodes of the I Know What You Did Last Summer series that's out right now?
I haven't yet. Have you?
Yeah.
What's
I'm really enjoying it.
Oh, cool.
It's a lot different, I'll say that.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm enjoying it.
See, but yeah, I'm one of those cats that, like, I'm always open to shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, I hope
it's like a different retelling. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
I hope they do cool things with these elements, but it's just usually sometimes it doesn't hold up, and that's cool to hear because that encourages me to actually kind of follow up on my want to check it out. So,
but the movie we're talking about today, like you said, is awful. It came out in 2006. It's directed by this guy named Sylvan White, who, like, the biggest movie he ever did was a movie called Stomp the Yard.
Oh, Stomp the Yard.
I don't know if you remember that, but it was like a dance movie. It had like Chris Brown and Neo in it, and it was just ridiculous. Yeah. He's also recorded some other horror movies, but yeah.
That's fucking crazy. I did not. Well, that's a great leap, you know. But yeah, this movie.
There's also I've
I don't know, dude. Like, we briefly mentioned it. There's just so many reasons why this movie shouldn't exist.
I think so. A fun fact. I think part of why this movie's so bad is I was reading that, like, he was brought in last minute. They, like, fired the other director, and he was brought in last minute and only had 2 weeks to, like, get a cast, like, get these locations and make a shooting schedule and make the movie. So that Yikes. I think that part of it lends to it. Here's the other fun fact, and the coolest thing about this movie is the guy that plays the fisherman. Yeah. His name is Don Shanks. He played Michael Myers in Michael Myers 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers.
God damn, dude.
Yeah.
Okay. I will say, like, the thing that I've liked about the apparently I always know, or I Know What You Did franchise or whatever, has been like that. Like, the fisherman always had this kind of, like, stature-esque, like, menacing kind of vibe to him. Mm-hmm. Even though, like, the premise kind of gets more ridiculous as the movies go.
Right.
Like, it was kind of like, you could tell that there was some cue from, like, the Michael Myers aspect of, like, this dude's just, like, for some reason unstoppable. Like, that's just a really cool connect, though. Yeah, this movie, like I said, dude, just, I mean, the title alone, I'll always know what you did last summer. Like, it's just, it plays so hard into itself, like, into, like, the movies that came before it, so, like, right away.
But yet has, like, so little to do with them.
So you know little. I mean? So, I mean, right off the bat, like, with some really edgy cinematography, it dives you into, like, this fucking, like, I don't know, ski town that's, like, in the middle of fucking, like, summer.
It's funny because the town's called Broken Ridge. I think they're trying to make a play on, like, Breckenridge, which is, you know, but that's just, yeah. It's weird that they switched locations from, like, this fisher town to a fucking ski town.
Yeah, that was one of my biggest things I kept laughing about. Like, I was like, why is this fisherman terrorizing this town in Colorado? Which is not on the water at all. There's no water in sight. This is fucking crazy. Like, but then, I mean, just immediately, once you actually start interacting with, like, okay, wait, hold on. First, we have to talk about the music that kind of cues in with that edgy, like, intro, like, cinematography, like the dun, 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 whatever the fuck it is. It's like this, like, it's just like butt alt rock like riff that just keeps.
There's
playing
a lot of that. Yeah. Yeah.
It's so bad. It just reeks. It reeks of of the early 2000s.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you get into the first like few interactions with some actual characters, and it's more of that like awful like stupid jokes that we got in like the Hostel 3 movie, like. Totally. You know, like one of them's like, "Don't you have dirty little secrets?" And she's like, "Yeah, I heard you're bad in bed." Like right away, you could peg these characters for like, who's gonna live, who's gonna die. It was fucking like, but like, I just the delivery that every actor gives,
it's bad,
so bad. Like it's on a different level. Like I feel like you said, dude, like it sounds like this had to be slapped together last minute, and knowing that, like it definitely, I'm not trying to make excuses, but it shows.
Right. And that's they're all pretty bad.
Yeah, but so they're all at this like fair, this carnival, and you have fucking the four main characters, right? Colby, Amber, Zoe, Lance.
Well, there's also
Lance
Roger,
but Roger.
Yeah, Roger, PJ. Yeah.
And like they're all, that's just a lot of commotions going on. They mentioned they're on the Ferris wheel at one point, and they mention, have you heard, the fisherman or whatever? Like this
the legend, the 4th of July. Yeah.
The legendary 4th of July fisherman who comes out and guts teenagers. It's like,
so ridiculous.
But then, I mean, like they legit reference like the act, like they reference the events of the other movies straight up. Right? Like,
there's a great line where they're talking, and one of them's like, I forget what he says at first, but he's like, no, he's more like Jack the Ripper, except the guy never got caught.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, because that's like Zoe makes this edgy comment. She's like, oh, he's like the reverse Santa Claus, except he goes after the naughty kids or something like that. It's like, oh my God. Dude.
Yeah, thank you. That's what was said. Yeah.
Zoe's such a fucking edgelord in this movie, like they're all through.
and this is one of those movies where all of the characters are pretty unlikable.
Oh, 100%. Like I did not care that any of them. I was like rooting for like I was rooting for the cast to meet their entire demise,
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, it's so bad though.
Which we think's going to happen rather quickly.
Yeah, dude. That,
you know what I mean?
I will say this: the movie took me by surprise there for a moment. I thought the fisherman, because this movie is so bad up until this point, which is it's like 6 minutes into the movie, really. that's like what we're talking. And then the fisherman appears. Real quick, we get introduced to PJ. He comes into play in a little bit.
And
PJ's this cool. Yeah. PJ's this cool skater dude. Yeah. He just joined the army. And he's like, he comes thrashing in on his board. Dude, the skating in this movie, epic. So right away though, the fisherman slashes through this carnival tent thing, and he comes running after the kids out of nowhere. And like I said, like legit 6 minutes into the movie, and so you're thinking, the fuck is happening? And
right.
So, like I at first when I saw this sequence and like he slashes Colby's arm and then like everybody starts running away, I thought that this was a trick where like we thought this was the main cast, and then all of a sudden like these kids were gonna die, and then it was gonna take us to like the real story.
Was I
wrong. Boy was
Unfortunately,
Unfortunately, the fake fisherman chases these kids through the carnival for a while, and PJ particularly, there's a great shot of him hopping on his board and skating off.
Jesus.
And so
which isn't the best shot of the skateboard yet. It comes here shortly.
Oh no, there's better. Yeah. And so he's like, he's chasing him, and then there's this great epic shot where like all of a sudden like this crowd kind of formulates around this like building where PJ is all of a sudden on top of.
Yeah.
And the fisherman like confronts PJ on top of this building, and he wields his skateboard and blocks the hook at one point, and like knocks the fisherman down for a second, and then like I don't know why, for like he like hops on his board and wheels like fucking 20 feet away, and then hops off his board again, all on top of this building. Yeah, but then.
Dude, it's so weird. Like us explaining it's not going to do it justice. He literally skateboards down like an angled part of the roof, hops off, does like a one-footed grab, and it's like, are you fucking kidding me?
All I could think of was like, I kept thinking like, dude should have listened to those Tony Hawk Pro Skater trick tips, man.
Yeah,
he did not.
That's what it looks
straight.
like.
He fucking he should.
Yeah, we don't know his fate just yet because we see him fly off the roof, like I said, in this ridiculous shot.
You look like he's looking. He looks like he's going for like a method grab almost, but it's like fucked up. And they were just like, well, he didn't get. It's like the actor didn't get it, so we're just gonna keep that take or something.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so you think? I mean, honestly, I thought PJ got escaped. I thought his rad skateboarding got him away.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, dude. But like that shot of him riding down the fucking side of the roof.
Ridiculous.
100% ridiculous. Like I wonder why
they go with that. Yeah.
Like there's like what skater filled in for that, man? Like what professional skateboarder did that? You know what I mean?
I didn't think about looking that up, or you know what I mean? It's just
just such a bad moment. But hilarious fucking moment.
it was. But
then you quickly go to that's the other thing, man. Like some of the chop shots in this, like you jump from there to like the main gang, I'd say, Zoe and Colby and fucking Amber, right?
Yeah.
And they're like meeting, they're like in like the garage or the parking lot or whatever. And you just think at this moment, like, okay, cool, they got away.
Mm-hmm.
But then the big reveal.
Yeah. We learned it was all a prank. One of those setups where it was like the guy in the fisherman suit walks up and busts a quick dance move.
Disco hooks it, man.
Does that? Yeah.
Fucking redonkulous. Yeah.
We learned this is Roger that had did this, and he makes a comment about how he got the suit for $39 on eBay.
Yeah, that's
and
it's authentic. It's the one that was really used. Like he says something like that.
The eBay line was such like a because that's when he like around that time, eBay was just it's nowhere near as big as it was today. So it's funny that they threw that reference in.
Yeah. Well, it was like one of the things. I mean, it was like popping off. It was starting to pop off, right? eBay was like becoming like known for like internet, being internet stuff, and like it was. I don't know.
Yeah. So
that was funny, dude.
We learned it was a prank, and then they're like, "Oh, let's go." Then they're like, "Let's go find PJ." And this is where there's like another turn. You know what I mean?
And this is where you learn that PJ landed straight onto a fucking tractor exhaust.
Because as they're running up, the only mention of it is one character says something really quick, like there was supposed to be a mattress there, and they don't touch on it anymore. But like you, I was just blown away though. I was just like, wow. So. Like, I mean, he literally, the reveal is like, he's literally like impaled onto like some sort of like large, like I said, like a large exhaust port on a tractor, like the largest one I've ever seen, because it's like comically big. Yeah.
Oh my God. Comically big.
He's dead.
He's fucking dead. And the important thing to note is that PJ is the sheriff's son.
And Lance's brother. Yeah.
And Zoe's boyfriend. It
Well,
looked like
I don't
they
know.
were kind of canoodling.
They
But
feel like a picture together. Yeah, but it doesn't explore that anymore.
it doesn't explore any of their relationships anymore. The thing that's most bizarre coming off the death reveal of PJ is the fact that like these people that are related to him, these people that like grew up with him supposedly and shit, just like walk like they're not grieving like hard at all, dude. Like if my brother just fucking died being impaled on a fucking like tractor, I would probably be like in a state of emotional wreckage.
Yeah, it doesn't show any of them. It's true. It doesn't show
It
Lance or
literally
the
shows them-
sheriff. Yeah.
It literally shows them all just like kind of upset next move, like walking into like the wilderness area.
Well, none of the ones going into the woods were related to him though. They were just his friend. But I know what you're saying.
No. It wasn't. Didn't they build it up like PJ was like related to fucking the one of the girls?
No,
Not
he's
Zoe,
only
but
he's related to Lance and the sheriff. And that's
okay. Well, that's
Yeah.
fucking lame. All right. Well, that makes sense. That they were upset. But so they're all the main group is like in this classic. It's always I always know what you did thing or whatever. I mean, what do you call this franchise? I know what you did. They these friends have this like moment where they're all like, well, fuck, we can't tell anybody about that. PJ's dead, man.
Of course, they had this scene where like, one person wants to go to the police, and
Yeah, and that one person, by the way, is fucking Amber. So in this scene, so in this part of the movie, so like Amber's the one that stands out in the group where she's like, I think we should tell people it was a fucking prank, like
right.
And everybody else is like, they make a comment that Zoe, you could be the next American Idol. You want to have this ruin? It's like another random drop like that. You're just like, American Idol.
Good point. Because now,
and so
it's just like the first movie where they argue back and forth, and then they come to the conclusion that it's best for the group if they make a pact to keep it a secret.
Yeah,
and it's even more cheesy. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say Colby, like at one point even like pulls out, because it was revealed that he didn't get cut at all, and so it was like he pulls out like the hook, which I gotta be honest, the hook looks like really fucking like, it looks thick as fuck, like every time you see it, and he cuts his arm and everything, throws it into the fucking
to like
water
make it look
like
real. Yeah. I thought the funniest part of this is that they had to come up with like a cheesy thing to say where they were like, one of them's like, the secret dies with us. All right, everybody, say it. And then everybody
literally make everybody go around the circle and say it.
Yeah.
and that's something that they do like later in the movie too. They make like, I think not fucking Roger said like the girls make him like repeat something again, and I was just like,
right. Weird. But they throw the hook in the water. They burn the suit.
Yeah.
And then it jumps, and then it does a classic like jump to a year later.
Yep. 1 year later.
July 1st to be specific. 1 year later. Because and Amber's like at PJ's headstone and has these flowers. She's taking pictures because apparently she's a photographer, which they really only mentioned like twice.
Dude, Nadine pointed out in one of the scenes that she's like doing her edgy photography work. Mm-hmm. She like, it's like she straight up has her fingers like in front of the lens and stuff.
Oh wow, I missed that.
She's fucking good. She's a real photographer, people.
But I love this scene where she gets this text. And in like classic like 2006 like. It says C with the C, U with the U at the barn party. I was like, wow.
Oh my God. Yeah, dude. The texting and like every time they showed like a screenshot of like the phones or whatever, it was very clearly like I don't know, like an edited sort of like text box like onto the screen kind of thing.
Yeah.
They didn't have the technology to like really read phones, but they're all flip phones that everybody has in this movie. And so anyway, she goes to the barn party, and which I was like, I feel like this is kind of familiar to me. I feel like this setting of like barn parties. I feel like I've been to one or two, honestly. But she goes there and she finds Colby, who surprises her by not having an internship in LA and working at the pool again this summer.
Here's something funny about this is that, okay, so it's just, so they establish like at one part at the carnival where she makes a line about how he's going to college in California and she's staying in town. Okay, so then why is she so surprised that when she sees him that he's like, if she's been in town, how the fuck didn't she? You know what I mean? Like, it was just stupid.
Yeah.
But they get.
It was really confusing, and they have like this this weird fight moment, or I loved it, where like it was basically ends up with them like kind of breaking up, and Colby just straight walks away.
Like this is another like. Pretty much every scene he's in, he's a dickhead, and it like starts with here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the dude's like he's the character in the movie that you're rooting for him to like fight the fisherman at some point and get his fucking head chopped off or something. You know what I mean?
And then there's something funny here where like they get in an argument and she leaves crying, and Lance asks her if she wants a ride, and she's like, I got my truck. And then the very next scene you see her driving in a Jeep.
They had really tough time keeping with the story here.
Yeah, like that's not. I mean, maybe technically it's like in the truck family, but it's not like what I think of when I think of a truck.
Why not? Yeah, why not just write Jeep into the dialogue, or like just have it be like, well, I mean, like if we don't have a truck for the movie, just use Jeep.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah, that I mean. Well, and this scene also sort of reestablishes that Lance has kind of had this ongoing thing for her. Right. He like, flirts with her in the beginning of the movie, and then like in this one, he's like trying to like talk her up, like, yeah, I saved up to get a bike this year and stuff like that.
Right.
Also, we got to note that Lance in almost every scene you see him is wearing some form of leather wristband. So. Yeah.
And then right after this, we get a quick interaction with the deputy from like. Who witnessed the accident at the beginning, and it also kind of looks like maybe he has a crush on her too, because he makes this weird comment about like, if you need anyone to talk to, I'm here or whatever, you know what I mean? And like he has other interactions with her. There's one later in the movie where he mentions her parents being home alone. Like it's just. It seems like he has a crush on her too. Yeah,
but he like, it's like given the performance is given in this way where he's like you don't know. I mean, that they do a good job of kind of painting him as like kind of suspicious,
right?
In a way, because he's always kind of like hey, like come to me, and he's also kind of a bigger dude, so you kind of like maybe he's the fucking fisherman sometimes. At least maybe I thought. But yeah, so after the barn party. You find out, well, really, like the next big reveal that we should talk about is the fucking text message. So Amber waking up with 50 text
she goes
messages.
Home. Yeah, she like. There's this scene where she like wakes up from a nightmare of a dead PJ. She hears noises and goes to check it out. The radio pops out. There's like so many shitty jump scares in this movie. And this is like the first one where she's walking through the kitchen and the radio just pops on and it frightens her. Yeah. But then, it's like, it's the funny thing about the text messages is because she gets all these text messages, like 50 of them saying, I know what you did last summer. And of course that like, because the first one was made in 98, I believe. And, there wasn't texting then, or maybe there was. It's like the dawn of texting, you know what I mean? But here in 2006, this is where it's getting like really, really popular. So I thought it was funny how, of course, they had to switch from like finding notes that say that to getting texts that say that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, particularly because there's that big buildup where she gets left the note, like a random note in her room and then you're like, oh, is this the start of it? And
is this the note?
It's just like her parents being like, we're out of town, no parties this weekend. Like,
I will give them credit for that. They did like a little bait and switch there, but
but the text message thing, you're right, dude. It's like it's totally because of the time frame of this movie. Like they're like, yeah, we got to switch it up. We got to make this modern.
Yeah.
But then, okay, so then after she discovers all these text messages, that's when she reaches out to her old buddy Zoe, has become even fucking edgier than we last saw her.
Right.
Holy shit.
Yeah, she's like having band practice, and
it's like so. From what I gather, has like a band practice space that's like looks like it's in like a like a half broke down like barn or warehouse area thing, and she also maybe lives there because when Amber asks to stay there later in the movie, it's at that same location. So I was just like, damn, dude, she's embracing this edge. She's like, I'm gonna live on the fringe, man.
Amber asked to stay there that night. Yeah, she's like freaked out. But yeah, they have like, it's one of those things where they kind of did this in the first one where it's like these characters aren't as close anymore after this traumatic, thing that happened,
For sure. Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's the thing about this movie. Like it 100% tries to like follow the formula of the original movie. And it just does. I mean, it does it technically kind of, but like,
But yeah, I know what you're talking about her being edgier because Amber shows her the messages and asks if she told anyone, and she goes, "Yeah, I wrote a song about it, but the single's not out yet."
Oh my God. Get the fuck out, Zoe. Yeah, God damn it. Okay, so now that we have like two of the squad coming together, we got Amber and Zoe. Now they're like, okay, well, we got to figure out this shit. So they basically try to go get in contact with Roger, right?
Right, because it jumps to the next day now. Now it's July 2nd.
Yeah, they keep giving you the appraisal of the day, which I it literally just like I feel like they needed to fill the time, so they just did like the black screen July 2nd for it.
They just made like a quick like a PowerPoint slide.
Basically, because they do it for like every day almost.
Yeah.
It's just like it's not. I don't think it was done in the other movies, and so I was just like, I feel like they just like needed to fill like they're like whatever, it'll take up like 20 seconds.
Yes. But yeah, like you said, they go to look for Roger at the ski resort where he's working at.
Yeah, because they make a mention he's like working there repairing ski lifts or something like that. It doesn't seem like that bad of a gig, but they painted it as like a real fucking like shit time for him. And they walk in, and then oh my God, dude, we have to talk really quickly about the like 2006 fashion that happens throughout this movie. Like Zoe
it's bad.
Has this huge like weird belt on in this scene that I kept
hideous.
Laughing at so hard.
But people were wearing that then, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like, I
remember that fad.
100%, dude. Like, I remember like the fashion in this movie, and I'm just like, oh my God, dude.
It was bad. Yeah.
Anyway, so they go and they're investigating. There's a couple like, there's noises to be had and all this stuff, and then all of a sudden,
say it.
Roger just kind of pops out of this like area with on like a lift, and he's just like comes right at the girls. He has a welding mask on.
Another jump scare. Fuck.
And what was funny about this whole sequence where they're interacting with Roger on the lift and everything, where they basically appraise him of the situation, like, yo, somebody texted me 50 times, like, I know what you did last summer. And Roger's like, yeah, we should fucking tell somebody. Like, I'm losing my fucking mind. Like, I'm racked with guilt about this shit.
Which is like such a cliche for the series. Like, later they want to call them. Now they want to call the cops. You know what I mean?
And the turn is that in this scene, Amber's like, we had our time to tell them. We're not going to fucking do it, basically. Like, we're not going to tell anybody. And so it's like, now it's like her pressing everybody to like, shut the fuck up about it for sure. Yeah,
because Roger's he's like a dick, but yeah, she makes him agree to keep his mouth shut, like you said.
And what's really funny to me about this whole sequence is that Roger, like, off and on puts his welding mask on, like, down and like lifts it back up, but every time he has it down, it's completely unnecessary. And then the one time he's actually using a blowtorch, he just has it right like up, and he's just like,
oh, for fuck's sakes!
I was like, this guy's gonna get fired.
Right.
But then from there it jumps to like a scene where Amber and Zoe are in their Jeep or in a Jeep or whatever.
Yeah.
Or Amber's Jeep. And you got to get reintroduced to the sheriff who pops up out of nowhere.
Yeah. Another jumps. Another stupid jumps. Yeah. Yeah. He just pops up and makes this weird line about how he's how he hasn't seen them in a while, and he's been thinking about them because it's the 4th of July.
God, dude, that's what I mean, man. This movie, like, I'm not trying to I don't defend this movie. Laugh at watch this to laugh for sure, but
yeah,
they do they do an all right job of painting slightly suspicious.
He's one of them.
Yeah, characters. Yeah.
But yeah, they have that quick scene, and then next they of course we knew this was coming. They go to talk to Colby. Who, as they mentioned earlier, is he's a lifeguard at a pool.
Yeah, fucking dumb jock-like guy is a lifeguard at the pool.
Right. No surprise there.
Yeah.
And kind of like Roger, he's also he doesn't want to hear it. You know what I mean? And he's more of the type of just trying to dismiss it, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. At this point, he's when Zoe kind of goes to talk to him, he's just sort of
that's right, because it's Zoe at first. That's right.
Yeah. He's basically just his approach is sort of just listen, you told me to fucking bury it, so I fucking buried it. Okay, I'm not trying to bring this shit up. Which, given the certain type of situation, I can kind of understand that in a way. But I mean,
then she leaves, and then there's this unintentionally hilarious part where he goes back to his his post at the lifeguard, and he looks down, and somehow written in water you see a sign, and all it says is "I know what you did."
Yeah, I know what you did.
It doesn't even say "I know what you did last summer." It just says "I know what you did," and it's kind of,
and it dries up slowly in the sun. It's so cheesy. It fucking ridiculous. It's one of those moments I don't know. That was definitely a post of an edit. That was in post production. Then it jumps to a scene. This is a part of the scene where I was talking about with some edgy photography.
Oh yeah, yeah.
She inexplicably it just jumps. It just cuts to the scene of her out in the fucking
really random
boonies, just fucking riding her bike around. Mm-hmm. And taking edgy photography, and then all of a sudden her bike tires get slashed.
Yeah, it looks like they got slashed. She turns around and goes to inspect her tires, and it looks like they've been slashed.
Yeah, which it would kind of make me immediately fucking suspicious if I was out there, to be honest.
True.
I'd be who the fuck did that? Although, you definitely would have heard somebody popping those motherfuckers. So, because her bike is right behind. It's
right
a few
10
meters
feet behind her. Yeah.
Yeah. And so she discovers her bike. She gets kind of weirded out, and then she wheels it down to yet another ski lift, which apparently she's nearby. They're all over the place here.
Yes, apparently.
and there's she kind of forces her way into this ski lift
with all the gondolas.
Area. Yeah, the gondolas. I like that word. And it's there's another jump scare in this scene.
Of course there is. Yeah,
because there's
the guy jumps out with a crowbar in his hand.
Yeah. You get the silhouette of a potential hook and yeah, and he's just oh, there's a storm coming, or I'll get you a lift or whatever.
Yeah, and then she takes a gondola ride. It's so weird.
It was so strange. I was this movie's unfucking real, because why would you put this in here? It's so boring. And so it's just this sequence of her in this fucking gondola going back down. It's all dark as shit now, and there's a storm supposedly starting to rage.
Yep.
I don't even think her bike's in there, because you can't fit that. It looks small. So maybe she just ditched it. So she's going down, and then there's it starts getting kind of rocky. There's some turbulence, and as she's passing this other gondola, she thinks she sees this flash of the fisherman's silhouette.
Yes.
This dude's all fucking over the place. And then you have this real interaction, I believe.
Right.
With where there's some shaking happening on gondola, and then a hand with a hook in it kind of swings down and fucking breaks
blast
one of the windows.
Yeah. But that's it. She doesn't get attacked. But this kind of reminded me of the scene from the very first one where Ryan Phillippe's character like gets attacked and chased down by the killer, but the killer doesn't kill him. Except that scene was 10 times cooler. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Like that's a good call. That this kind of was like one of those, like that moment in the movie, you know?
The killer's trying to scare him essentially right now.
Like the killer's fucking with him
yes,
right now, and he's gonna fucking get him.
Yes.
Good call. But yeah, I just thought it was so funny because it just like that was it.
And then it jumped, and then it, like you said, it has like another jump where she's like in her house with Colby and Zoe, and she has this like very shitty quality picture of what she thinks is the hook. And
it's literally like she has like they're on a table and it's like a bunch of black photos, and then there's one with like a little corner of this blurry silver curved image.
yeah. And she thinks it's the hook, and of course Colby, being the dickhead he is, he's like that. You know, he makes some line about, you know, that's not a hook or whatever. I forget what he says, but he just like dismisses it again.
Yeah, he's just like, the fuck is. I mean, I would be skeptical of that picture too, though. I'd be like, this could be anything. You could have taken a fucking angle of. Anyway, whatever. But yeah, it's just one of those sequences where this movie just jumps from place to place. Because
they briefly talk about Roger, and Colby says Roger is whacked, and one of them's like how whacked, and then we learn how whacked he is.
Yeah, I thought how whacked.
Yeah,
we were fucking cracking about it. And then but then he cuts to this like really edgy scene of Roger like being racked with guilt and slamming some booze and some pills, and he's
taking some pills and crying.
Yeah, and writing like a note about how he's done with all the guilt and stuff like that. And then he opens a box up and has the hook.
Okay, so this yeah.
Jesus, dude.
It starts to like cut his wrist with it, which is kind of gnarly. Yeah,
it was. So like this is my whole beef. So like he in this sequence he begins to cut his wrist. He's digging the hook into his wrist really quickly. You see some blood, and then he gets distracted by a noise. And he goes and he investigates. There's some blood dripping and whatnot, a little bit. They make a point of showing it. But my beef is, and like, well, we'll just get through this. So we all know where this is heading. He's about to fucking get hooked. Okay, so and he does like there's this really cool sequence where I think they do a fairly good job of painting him as being like fucked up. Because there's he's kind of like the camera angles are kind of like whoa, they're like up close in his face and stuff.
Whoa.
and then anyway, so like basically there's the fisherman jumps out and goes after him, and there's a shot of him running through like a handful of the gondolas where it just shows like all the windows and stuff, and it was actually kind of a cool shot.
It was
But anyway, he gets fucking gutted by the fisherman.
Well, because he tries to like grab a saw to fight him off.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah. Like a plugged in like table saw, or fucking handsaw. He's like.
But yeah, it doesn't work. He gets his throat slashed with the hook.
Yep. And then, so here's where it comes in. So after this is all discovered by the main crew who go to investigate or go to check on Roger.
Here, I want to say something really quick. Here's where it's one thing that's really quick, and if you aren't paying attention, you won't notice it, where they try to tie it into the other movies. While they're like investigating his like work area, they found this little brown box that the hook's in. And if you look closely on top of the box, it's like you see like a postage stamp from the Bahamas.
Oh. Which would have been like, that's why he was like, he made the mention of like, it's authentic, in the beginning.
Yeah. So that was like
wild. Yeah.
It was kind of like a blink and you miss it, but that was like one of the only times that that you're watching like this movie's actually maybe tied into the other movies. And there's more later, obviously, but yeah.
That's a good call.
What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say that like, so the hook is back in the box for one, which like, the last time you saw it, he was digging it into his wrist, and then he I believe he had it like going out of the room, and so you see it. They pull it out of the box, and it's just like clean and like it hadn't been touched. You know, I just like I don't know. I was just like the continuity on this thing kills me because it's like they could have at least like left it like, you know, scattered somewhere or like bloodied to like let them know that he was fucking like hooking himself or something. I was like,
yeah.
Anyway,
but they find his dead body. They find the suicide note. And Zoe's like, he killed himself, or you know.
And so they think, and then the deputy like catches them like kind of like, you know, rummaging through his shit.
Right.
And he's like, oh, you know, like, what are you guys doing there? And then like, there's this great shot where like, you know, they start telling him like, oh, he killed himself, and Zoe's holding the suicide note, and she like immediately like passes it to Amber. like, yeah, I don't know, it's just sort of funny.
But yeah, they give them their statements. You know, it shows like a police crew like investigating the area, and you see like a paramedics taking his body away. And he tries to pry for more info, but they all are like, you know, that's all we know.
Yeah.
And then there's like a really quick shot where he pulls Amber aside, and this is what I'm talking about, where he's like, you know, if you have any questions, you know, call me. I know you're home alone, or something like that.
Yeah. And it's like, what the fuck, dude? Now is not the time.
Right.
Yeah. Like it's kind of funny though, because it feels like so many people know their secret and they're just waiting for their kids to fucking admit it, basically.
Right.
Because like,
yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I mean, that's probably not true, but sometimes it feels like that with the characters. You're just sort of like, they all hate these kids, and I think it's because they fucking know.
Yeah, it's true.
Anyway, so yeah, it's another edgy scene where they kind of go back to a darkened Amber's darkened parents' house where it's all dark, and they get there and there's like pictures torn up everywhere, and like,
yeah,
you know? And then like they go upstairs, and like on the wall it's like in torn up pictures it says like soon
from their yearbook. Yeah. yeah. I like, there's like a quick thing where Colby like maybe thinks that like Roger had done it, like you know, Roger did this or whatever, and one of them's like, no, it just happened.
Yeah, dude, like fucking idiot. Colby's just a fucking idiot. Like, he's just a turd in this whole fucking movie, man.
Yeah.
So
now it jumps to the next day, July 3rd.
Yeah. So that's all you get, and then you jump to the next July 3rd, and it reintroduces Lance, who you haven't seen in a hot second, and he's out there doing edgy shit out in the fucking boonies,
cutting up wood. Yeah.
He's just so edgy. He has a choker on, I think. But you know, there's like, basically they just confront him thinking like he might be responsible for this, right?
Yeah. And yeah, he explains that like Sheriff Davis asked him and his uncle, or sorry, Sheriff Davis is his uncle, I'm sorry. But yeah, he mentions that he was asking him about some secret. But I like how in this scene, him and Colby get in this like pissing match, essentially. You know what I mean? It was just so like ridiculous and unnecessary.
Well, and that's the thing. So like there's actual like plot elements that need to be developed in this scene, right? And the thing that you take away the most is their pissing contest.
Yeah,
like that just takes the focus away from the whole scene. it's so you're like, okay.
It's a short scene anyway, and then there's like another short scene where they're at lunch, and this is where Colby is explaining that he thinks the sheriff might be behind it all, which would make sense because his son was the one that was killed, you know, in that PJ, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and he mentions that the sheriff used to be special forces.
Yeah.
he's like he used to be special forces. They live for the shit.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Like they live for dressing up like and killing people.
Yeah. And then Colby even goes as far as to like leave this cheesy threatening note on the sheriff's truck. It's so funny.
Oh my god, dude. Yeah. Well, it's just like this fucking boy is over here just talking about how this dude's like an ex special forces guy, and he's just
right.
He's still stupid enough to be like, yeah, no, well, I could puff out my chest.
No shit, huh? That's a good point.
Fucking idiot, Colby. Yeah, goddamn, dude. And then you have like, it goes again to this like nighttime sequence where, you know, how do I say it? You think you're almost gonna get your classic like horror movie topless moment, and they don't. They take that away. Not that I'm saying you want it, but it's just so funny because they do this like moment where like it reminded me of like the timeline of this movie where if this was an 80s movie, they would have definitely made, like the actress would have been topless. Because she's like getting changed in the window and there's like this voyeuristic moment, and then it like, and this is before they go to visit like the sheriff or whatever, I believe, right?
Yeah. Well, you also before this scene you're talking about, there's like a scene where Zoe has a nightmare of PJ in the fisherman suit, and then she wakes up and her couch is like all slashed up.
In between the cafe scene. Oh, yeah.
Like after, yeah, and then like there's just a quick scene where like she has a nightmare, and then she wakes up and her couch is all slashed up, which kind of was like, we're I don't want to spill the beans for anyone that hasn't seen it, but like later on in the movie when we learn who the killer is, it's almost like this killer has some paranormal powers, and so it kind of makes sense like how the tire got slashed without her knowing, or how she wakes up and her couch is slashed, but it never explains it at this point.
Oh, yeah, I have my timeline all mixed up in this movie for a second.
No, you're fine.
But you're right. You're right. Because anytime there's like that dream sequence was another one. I wrote down like it was another like edgy, like there's lots of weird edgy cut shot. Where it's like these like weird like I don't know. It's just yeah. Anyway. Yeah, so that's a good point, dude. I should have picked up on that like when I first went through this movie, kind of like that could have been like a really good indicator of like there might be some supernatural aspects to this now,
right? Because
I just kept thinking it has to be one of like somebody in town here, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, then it goes to the scene of Amber, you know, like you said, dressing, and then she goes outside and we get another fucking jump scare.
Yeah, a Lance jump scare, I believe, right? Like,
yeah,
and it's just like, yeah, dude. There's so many. Those are the most prominent fucking parts of the like or scares in this whole movie. Like the fisherman stuff never gives me any like the slasher stuff never gives me any weebie-jeebies. It's just like these constant like they like gnaw at you, these constant jump scares. Like,
right. But
then it goes to a scene where Colby, being super cool and having access to the public pool because he works there, just like doing laps at night like by himself.
Yeah, real quick though, the scene with Lance, we learned that someone engraved on his bike, you know, the I know what you did last summer. Yeah. That's right. The next prominent scene, like you said, or I guess it's not really prominent because it's also quick, but yeah, Kobe's swimming at night by himself, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and you know, the power starts fluctuating in the pool and shit. And then he starts having like I straight thought that we're gonna see Colby get electrocuted in the fucking pool, which I definitely
would have been cool.
Right,
yeah,
but
totally.
then you know, as he's doing laps, he gets eventually he gets like a fucking hook in the ankle, man. That was a gnarly part. Like just hooked to the ankle, and like the dude starts almost like the fisherman almost like drags him out of the water a little bit.
Tries before
he kicks away or something.
But yeah, this is another scene where like he gets like mildly attacked, but that's it.
Yeah, and that's again. Like, so you're sort of like this guy is, or this person is fucking with these kids at this point.
Yeah, he's playing with them. Totally.
And then it cuts to like, you know, a scene where they're all like it's like Zoe, Colby, Amber, and Lance.
Yep.
Are now all on the same team trying to like figure out what the fuck is going on.
Yes.
And yeah, you're right. Lance makes a mention. He's like, you know, where Colby says something like, well, why is he here or whatever? And Lance is like, well, you know, you're not like, you know, somebody fucked up my bike again or whatever. It's like a really compelling reason.
But yeah, there's another like quick, it's almost like you said, I think some of these scenes were just to fill up time because this scene was so unnecessary where they go to try to talk to Hafner and they don't even end up talking to him. They go and they mention like a couple quick things about they talk about like how PJ's anniversary, but then quickly the sheriff walks out and then it just shows them leaving the party.
Yeah, no, dude, it's so, you're right. Like it's so ridiculous. Like the scene starts up with this buildup, right? Where you like they kind of approach Hafner's house and like they like open, like the door opens kind of creepily like really easily, and then it just evolves super fucking fast. It's
But then the group decides, that they should get out of there tomorrow and that they need to stick together. And then it does jump to the next day. So now it's July 4th, which obviously is now the actual.
Down.
Yeah, now it's the 1 year anniversary of the,
PJ's
and
rad skate tricks.
Yeah. So it shows the group, and they're like getting ready to leave. They pull up to Zoe's place, and they have some bags, but then Zoe comes out.
I love this. Tell them.
Yeah, Zoe comes out and mentions that there's an agent at the show tonight, at this talent show, that she can't miss out, and ruins their fucking plan of like leaving safely. Like, wow, you selfish bitch.
It's such a fucking like cliche kind of moment where it's like, oh, there's gonna be agents from all over LA here to check it out. Yeah, then this is your fucking moment, ridiculous. Zoe. You can be the next American Idol.
So yeah, the next kind of like, I would say important, but it's not really important. But yeah, so it shows her band practicing, and then we get this interaction between Amber and Lance.
I mean, hold on. First though, like the band shit that they show in this sequence, in the song that they're playing, is so fucking bad, and I don't know what the fuck it is. Like, it's like there's like these lyrics. It's like come in the depths with me, baby. And then like over and over again, there's these shots of her just repeating, and like the audio is just like the repeating phrase in the depths, and it's just like, it's so fucking annoying. And my beef with it is that this isn't the last time you hear this fucking song, because you hear it almost immediately, like right after the scene,
and you hear the whole thing.
And you're right, dude. Like Amber and Lance have this steamy interaction almost,
right? Because they talk about the Amber talks to Lance about the original fisherman killer.
It's about time they start digging into it.
Yeah, I know. She's like, but she starts out with, this is the idea how we got our prank, and talks about the fucking the original fisherman killer and him coming back, and then chasing. And then she even mentions him chasing these kids to the Caribbean, which is like another like
Caribbean,
very small throwaway link to the other movies. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And Amber is scared here, and this is where Lance is like, I'll be there for you, and she's like, yeah, you've always been there for me. And then they start making out.
And it's just so fucking, it's edgelord set. Like their hands are like touching, and then they line them up in place, and then Lance, there's like a shot of Lance like rubbing his hand on her face or something, and like
cringe.
So cringe.
It's so cringe.
Oh.
But it's quick. Luckily, it's quick, because then it jumps to the. Much like a lot of shots in this movie now, it jumps to the Broken Ridge 4th of July party and talent show.
Yeah, I love that they make a mention that the carnival's canceled, and then they go to this big like fair like occasion right after.
Right. No shit. So the group kind of meets up here, and Colby's drunk.
Yeah.
And then, we get another jump scare where it shows Zoe sitting outside, and you see a shadow of someone maybe in a black coat walking up. It's kind of like off screen, and then he just walks up to her and like bangs his cymbal, and it's like, let's go.
Yeah. Time to rock or whatever.
Like you said, the music they make is cheesy, but so is the name of the band, because there's like someone announcing it, and they're like, all right, guys, here's Zoe and the Hearts.
Dude, it's so fucking lame. These goons.
Yeah, then they play their shitty song.
Oh my god.
And there's something interesting about this scene is it shows the sheriff like kind of looking on at Colby and Amber, and he's got this, like you said, where maybe they're building him as a suspect here.
Yeah, because he's like giving him this really like weird look, like, and again, you're sort of just like, okay, and maybe he's up to something. But then there's also like a sequence where like the deputy or whatever also like has this weird moment where he like appears in the shot, and then kind of like dips out again, and you're just like, the fuck is going on? Like,
Oh, and I forgot to mention at this point too, Colby's separated. He's in the bar just getting drunk at this point.
yeah, he's got some cool like hookup where like they know, you know, he's like, yeah, thanks bro for getting me like into the bar. And like later on, even like he's like in the bar at one point later on, and he's like makes a mention, he's like, yeah man, I'm just drinking some vodka. It's just like it's just so fucking cheese. But then
It's cheesy, but yeah.
like
So
it's like
Zoe's show goes off without a hitch.
yeah, and like they all like they kind of meet. Well, Lance and Amber meet her in her dressing room or whatever. Say, you know,
They congratulate her.
yeah.
I like how she makes a quick mention, like, there is an agent from California that wants to sign me.
Wants to sign me. Good lord. And then, you know, the fisherman attacks.
Yeah.
And like this is it. This is the part of the movie where I think you start you like it's just like he's no longer gonna fuck with them. He's gonna fucking go after them now.
Yeah, it's time.
It's time. And
So-
so he starts chasing the three of them.
One of my favorite part about like the beginning of this chase scene is while the chase scene is going on, it randomly shows this other band that's playing like and it's this awful like new metal like rap rock group. It's so awful.
Oh my god, it's so bad. Yeah, like I was like I had to go back and I watched it with subtitles, and it's like the lyrics that these guys are saying just in this really quick cut. It's just like this dude just going shut.
It's terrible.
Fucking terrible, dude.
But like you said, like this is the point where like he's not playing anymore, and we quickly see that.
Yeah, because he just straight goes. He just goes.
Because Zoe gets separated. Yeah.
So he gets separated, and then she's the first to meet her demise, we'll say, and in a pretty like. It's a pretty good intense sequence. Again, though, like the
she's the second after Roger, but yeah, she's the first in this scene to like meet her demise. Yeah. This is where the bulk of the kills come in. Is at this point.
Yeah, and it's like this like kind of drawn out little sequence where, you know, this reminded me again of one of like the first movie, I think, where it's like, you know, the balcony kill shot.
Yes, for sure, 100%.
But yeah, like she gets like hooked by the fucking fisherman, and he's like kind of like lifting her up and like over this balcony, and then like he, you know, Amber and fucking Lance like run up and they see this all happening, and you know they're all screaming, and then the fisherman like basically throws her over the balcony. And then there's this great shot. Like this was kind of one of those really interesting moments in the movie where I thought stylistically this next scene was kind of cool actually, because it shows her body, and it's kind of there's some blood splatter around it. It's like dark all around except for like the light in the middle, like around her body. And you see a couple of things. So like Lance and Amber run up, and there's like this really cool lighting just in the situation, I think. And when they hear a noise, they run out of the room, and then there's this shot where they're kind of like in light and shadow that just looks, I don't know, it reminded me of like things that you'd see in like some 70s horror movies.
There's a couple cool shots.
And then like out of nowhere, the sheriff kind of like walks like out of the darkness towards the body.
They're like hiding in the corner at this point. Yeah.
And anyway, so he discovers them, and you know, like has them come out, but then like
because he even like radios Hafner, and he's like, you know, I got a dead body here.
Yeah, and so like, you know, you think maybe they're gonna be all right for a second, and the fisherman in this really cool way, because you don't see him because he's all
this is actually a really cool shot.
He pops out of the darkness and just fucking hooks the dude and like brings him back into the darkness with him, which was really actually cool.
That was actually a great shot. Yeah, he just pulls him into the shadows, and you know he's dead, but it doesn't show it. It just leaves it up to your imagination of what happened, which is cool.
Yeah, that was probably like my one of my favorite moments in the movie, honestly. And then it cuts to them like trying to get a hold of Colby, who's back at the bar, getting fucking
he's
sauced.
drinking his vodka.
And the killer and the fisherman is just like, he's there now. He's after Colby now. Well, bam, he's chasing the Colby dog, and then Colby runs all the way into the kitchen with his with his hooked ass fucking leg. He's like limping along the way, and he grabs like a butcher knife, and he's just like, you know. He's ready. He's ready to hide and maybe take on the fucking fisherman.
At least he went out trying, because he did stab him once, but we learned that didn't really do any damage.
No.
His death was cool too. So I was reading that the Sylvan White, the guy that directed it, wanted to go for more practical effects than CGI, so I'll give him credit for that.
Yeah,
definitely. But yeah, he has this cool scene where you see Colby and he's you think he's by himself. He's by this locked double door with windows, and then real quickly, smash! The hook flies in, sticks him in the mouth, and pulls him through the fucking window.
Yeah, and the shot of the body being pulled through the window was a pretty quick, cool fucking shot.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good call, man. Like that shot and the one from earlier that we just mentioned, like those probably two were like some of my favorite moments in the movie. Totally. But yeah, and then they shortly afterwards, like Lance and Amber fucking discover his body, Colby's body,
in a dumpster.
In the dumpster, man. Throw it away like some trash.
Because the movie's going quick at this point.
Yeah,
which is good. So they find it. It was about time. But yeah, they go outside and they run into Hafner, and there's something interesting. So Hafner's like pointing his shotgun at them and sees them covered in blood. So of course he's going to be, suspicious because he's a police officer. And this is where he reveals that Roger had told him about the incident from the year before. And that he kept it a secret for Amber.
It's all for you, Amber. The amount of times that people mention, "I know what you did last summer" in this
movie over the top, dude.
Is fucking wild. It's like that and jump scares are the things that happen the most in this movie.
Unfortunately.
But yeah, so he's like a wild reveal, man.
And then he's like, "All right, guys, get in the car." But as they go to get in the car, they see Zoe's dead body. And then this is like a double switch where then they suspect him.
Yeah.
And before he can really even say anything, the fisherman shows up. And this is another pretty cool death scene.
Dude. So, the fisherman takes 2 pumps of a fucking shotgun and just keeps coming at the bro.
Yeah.
Just and yeah, then he They really utilized the hook in this movie, I'll say, because he guts him and he lifts him up with it and then puts him like in this kind of cool, slow way, pushes him onto this forklift. Prong, and hangs him there.
Forklift, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
Fisherman got lucky
him on a forklift. So I will say, for all the shitty stuff we had to endure, and at least there was 3 pretty cool kills in a row.
For sure. Yeah, it's well, and like you said, it definitely started picking up the pace there. And then you have this fucking reveal, right?
Right. The reveal is great because you think it's going to be someone from the town, but then they kill off the sheriff, who you thought was maybe a suspect, and the deputy. So I thought, that it was going to be PJ and that he really wasn't dead and that he was here to get his revenge for this prank gone awry. That's what I thought.
Straight up. That's kind of what I thought at this point in the movie too, dude. I was like, okay, it has to be PJ. He didn't die or something. But then I was like, he was fucking impaled. So, but
they go with something much more shocking.
Yeah. Which is it's fucking Ben Willis, right? It's the fucking fisherman, and he looks gnarled and fucking he looks like a corpse.
Yeah,
he just looks like a corpse.
He looks kind of like how Jason got progressively grosser and grosser. He looks fucking gnarly and grotesque.
Yeah.
And then it shows a scene where he puts his hood back on and his eyes flash red.
Yeah.
Where you're like, maybe, he's got some weird powers. And then we quickly see that because he goes to attack them in the car, and Amber actually stabs him in the arm with the hook, and he just very quickly disappears into the shadows. It was cool.
Yeah. Well, and they discover that he doesn't bleed blood. He bleeds some sort of black liquid or something.
Like some viscous fluid. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's a viscous fluid. Yeah, and so.
But yeah.
So they, after he kind of disappears for a second, they run off into a fucking garage and try and hide out. And
Amber's Amber's we have the hook. Maybe this is what hurts him. You know what I mean? which is hilarious.
I love all the just the random like character build and like just like the building that they do in this movie where it's like all of a sudden like he's supernatural, he can only be hurt by his hook, like potentially, but,
right, quick stuff. Yeah.
And my god, so he does pursue them into the garage and
Just like warehouse. Yeah.
this warehouse or whatever it is, and it like it's fairly menacing, it's just like at this point you just predict the chase. But I will say, like, the again, like I mentioned it earlier, there's sort of like the menacing like presence that the fisherman that what did you say his name, Don Shanks, actually brought to this role is kind of cool in this scene, and chasing
especially at this point where you have the reveal.
Yeah.
Because they have like this initial interaction where they try to set up this trap. They like put a hook on this motor connected to a winch and wind it up and try to swing it at him when he comes in, and it doesn't work. Lance gets knocked down with a pipe, and it looks like they're in a place where you would operate on machinery, because they're in this little like cut. I don't even know how to explain it, but they're in this little part that's like cut into the ground that they're in, and the fisherman's above them trying to swing at him.
Yeah.
And then Amber stabs him in the foot, and he disappears again for a minute. And you're like,
Yeah, and that's kind of when they make their sort of escape back outside, I believe.
And this comes like the final confrontation is coming up here,
which is fucking redonkulous. And
I will say before we get into it, the way he dies was fucking awesome. That was like my favorite part of the movie.
So, something that happens in this final sequence that I've been waiting for this entire movie was for, so they think, they're running, and then the fisherman appears again, and starts like approaching at them, and Lance takes his hook, and this was like that moment in, was it Texas Chainsaw Massacre
2? Yeah,
where there's like a chainsaw fight. You just like, this great sequence where Lance and the fisherman lock hooks, and the fisherman immediately throws Lance's hook out of his hand.
Of course, it's like knocking a lightsaber away or something. You know what I mean?
It was just like,
it's not going to work.
Like that just brief shot. You're just like, yes, finally, somebody's battling him with his own hook. And then so he throws it away and gets stabbed in the leg, all while Amber is.
Powering on a snowblower,
and so as you think, like Lance is gonna get his, the fucking fisherman straight just like rips a door off of the fucking
pulls her out,
fucking snowplow. Just like the dude's like supernaturally strong. He's like, you can't fucking,
which they don't explain, but it's cool.
Explain shit.
But so he pulls her out, and he slashes Lance. Lance tries shooting him to no avail. And then so you think that maybe he's going in to kill Lance, but this is when Amber, using her logic of maybe the hook will hurt him, stabs him in the head. Stabs him in the head in the hook, and he's like, oh but then God. The coolest way to off him yet is amazing. She fucking kicks him, and he falls back into the blades of the snowblower, gets sucked in, and then in this really cool shot, it shows the top, and you see all this black goo and material flying out of the snowblower.
Gnarly. It's like, dude,
that was a cool shot.
It was, man.
I'll give him that.
It was a really fucking cool way to destroy the character or at the end of this movie. You know what I mean?
Oh, I forgot to mention. She says before she does it, she says this really cheesy line. She goes, "The secret dies with you."
Oh my god.
Dude. Yeah, she had to go there.
Oh god, dude, this fucking movie is so fucking bad. I mean, that and like a couple other shots were really, really cool. But like, I can't say outside of those moments in this like last half of the movie, like, ugh. But yeah, then it goes to like, it goes to like them giving their statement while like in a ambulance, and then it kind of fades out and kind of cuts back into Amber on a road trip.
Of course they had to do this. Fucking Christ.
She's living her best life. She's near the Nevada state
It's
line.
a year later, by the way.
yeah. Another year later.
It's a year later. Yeah.
Don't forget that this movie likes to jump.
Yeah. And we learn in this part that her and Lance are like dating now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so as she's driving, she blows a tire and pulls off to the side of the road. There's nobody around, of course. This is 2006.
No.
And what should appear?
Of course they had to fucking do this. Yeah, she her sentence, and then real quick, like right behind her, he pops up, and then it fades to black.
Exactly.
We hear her scream and like the whoosh of the hook. Like, why did they have to fucking do this? Like, Jesus,
the stinky cheese,
Christ,
there, man. Jesus Christ, yeah. This movie, man, like it. Like, I will say this, like this one, I laughed like all the way through.
There was some funny shit for sure.
And so that alone, like, I think is kind of like give it, like, people should give it a watch, just for the fact that like they made a third movie called "I'll Always Know What You Did Last
So
Summer"
much later than the rest of them. Like, it was years and years later. It was unnecessary. It was straight to DVD.
It's like, what were they trying to accomplish with this movie? Like, what market were they trying to capture? Like, yeah, there's some real hidden, like, I Know What You Did Last Summer fans out there.
Because, like, I'll say this, because the first one, I love that movie. And then the second one comes along and it's kind of a stinker. And definitely killed off like whatever interest was left. You know what I mean, in that movie. So I was like, what were they thinking?
If they would have just left the first one alone, it would it'd be a fine like single horror movie. You know what I mean?
Totally.
But yeah, I binge watched the first and the second one recently. I mentioned that on one of the last podcasts. And like, you're right, like back to back, you're like, you know, sure, it's kind of cool, like, I guess how they sort of tie it, but the second one definitely like doesn't hold up to the first one, and this
not
one,
at all.
Just like strangely trying to like reignite the focus on the fisherman,
and it didn't work.
It just
didn't work.
Yeah. It just flopped like a fish out of water.
I just wonder why they decided to go with like the Ben Willis again, this like supernatural deformed, like why didn't they just have a, I don't know. Anyway,
why didn't they just make this movie about some other random killer in a cool costume terrorizing kids?
Right, because that was like the only link to, I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. Well, and I think at that point, like this is probably at a point with horror though, dude, where like, you know, that it wasn't like like some of these movies weren't super banging, and so, you know, they weren't really popular in the theaters and whatnot. Maybe like Saw was going, maybe.
Yeah.
But
The Ring, or I guess this is that was like 2001. I think I could be wrong. I don't know.
I imagine this is just a money grab, trying to like make money off of something. But yeah, this movie was like, laugh your way through it, hot dogs. It's on Amazon Prime.
There's some comedy.
So.
It is bad acting, bad wardrobe choices, shitty dialogue,
dude,
awful music,
all around. The way like whatever they shot this movie on looked like a step above like home video for the time. It was just bad across the board, which means it's perfect for this podcast episode.
Totally.
All right, hot dogs. Well, you heard it here first. Watch it, laugh at it, and then, you know, do something else with your life.
Right.
And also, keep following along here because we have some more episodes coming out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll leave it there, hot dogs. We got episode 25 coming up after episode 24, of course, because that's how numbers work.
Wow.
And so we'll see you there.
See you next time.